Hello, and welcome to Using Glencoe High School Math Virtually. Today we're going to be taking a look at the resources that you can share with your students, both via print and digitally, for our Algebra 1 Geometry and Algebra 2 titles. We're going to focus on Algebra 1, but you're going to see that the interface is exactly the same. So what we're going to do is you're going to see the Teacher Center first. I'm going to take you through what the Teacher Center looks like, give you some ideas that you could use as printables if you're putting together packets for your students that may not have digital access at home, and then show you some of those digital resources that you could share and assign to your students digitally. So the first thing that I just want to point out, in the upper left, you're going to see this 3-bar hamburger menu. It's going to have how you're going to do majority of your navigation. If I go into my 2 blue tabs, I'm going to see that I'll be able to pick whatever chapter and whatever lesson I happen to be working on. If I go to that 3-bar hamburger menu and down to resources, I'm now going to see all the resources that are available to me and to my students for that particular lesson. Now, as we're looking at print resources that we could share for our students with those packets, when we're talking about math, primarily what you're going to see here, if I go to the More section, you're going to see two that say Interactive Student Guide, the student version, as well as the teacher answer key. If I open up that student page, that is just a plain old PDF. This could be printed out. This is going for those very, very deep problems that our students are now responsible for on those high stakes tests. So this is really marrying those content standards along with the mathematical practices to give them that greater depth of understanding. And these are all in addition to the problems that are in their hardbound textbook. So those PDFs are something that could certainly be printed out and shared in a packet. But I'd like to take a look at the rest of the resources here. And as we continue to focus on printables that can be shared with our students, if I go down to worksheets, I'm going to see different versions of the worksheet. And if I hover over the top, it will tell me the type of worksheet that it is. The first one, the study notebook, this is set up in guided notes. So I know many of you already make guided notes for your students, but you're going to see that these are ready to go for you. So you have this generally 2-page spread for every lesson that helps your students through that particular lesson. Once again, this is a plain old PDF. It can be printed out. It can be emailed as an attachment or uploaded to a website. In addition to the study notebook, you're going to find leveled worksheets that can be shared with your students as well. The study guide and intervention for those students who might be struggling and need additional examples, skills practice, practice for the lesson itself, word problem practice, as well as enrichment for those students that we want to give a challenge to. Now, what I want you to notice is the different versions of the worksheets. So if you go into the editable worksheet, those are DOCX versions that you can go in, plain old Word documents. You can edit those before you print them and before you share them with your students. So all of those worksheets are available right under your resources, under the worksheets section. If you're looking for multiple lessons, all you have to do is go to that second drop-down menu and you can go from lesson to lesson. If your students do have access to the website digitally, you can have them log on to their site. You can give them assignments. So you can see you've got things like brain pops, different videos, those worksheets that we already talked about. And as mentioned, if I go in to assign something, and the way to assign it, very easy, in the bottom right of the thumbnail, you're going to see this little tools gear icon. If I click on the tools icon, I can share it through Google Classroom, or I can assign the resource. Now, say I want my students to watch one of those personal tutors. And now with the personal tutors, we've worked with about half a dozen real-life teachers who've gone in, record the audio as well as the board work for a parallel example. So here we've got Mr. Hardesty, who's going to show us another example on top of what is already in the textbook. The students already have access to these resources when they log on to their site. However, if you want to make sure that they've watched it, or if you want to start a discussion around any of these resources, depending on what type of interaction you're looking to have with your students in this digital environment, you can assign these resources online. Now, the way to do that that tools gear icon that we just saw. If I go to assign this resource, then I can title my resource, give my students directions in the instructions. So watch the video, be prepared to discuss, or for them to have a question to pose to you, whatever you'd like. You also notice that you have control over the date. So if you're working on some planning ahead, you can do this early and then change the start date. You can change the dates that you make it available. We realize that we're kind of in a fluid environment right now, not sure exactly when we're coming back into the physical school building. And then I can decide if I want to assign it to all of my students or just a subset of my students. I can check individual students. And then I can make the assignment. Once I make the assignment, if I go into View Assignment Details, one of the options I'm now given is to copy. So if I want to give this to all of my different sections, I could go in and just copy it. So then the question is, what does this look like for the students? In a different browser, I have a student view ready to go. So now in my student side, when they first log on, they will see in their bottom right, they have a homework section. So if they open up their virtual homework, they will see any assignments that they have. It will let them know when it's due. Any of those instructions that I created are right there. They're also given the opportunity to upload a document. So if you want them to show any work separately, you can have them attach a Word document, a PDF, anything that you would like. So that will go right with their assignment. Once they have completed that assignment, I now go back over to the teacher side, go back up to that 3-bar hamburger menu, and now down to my assignment tracker. This is where you as the teacher will get to see any assignments that you have given. So once you go in and give those assignments, you will see in your assignment tracker those resources, that information. You'll get to see if they've uploaded any files and any details that they've gone along with it. You're also able to submit comments back to your students so that you can have that dialogue as they are working through. So with the resources today, you got to see a little bit of a couple options for things that you could print out and send home in packets, or some resources that you could assign digitally and have your students complete and submit digitally. So thank you very much for your time.